All right, we're in Joshua chapter 15, and we're going to try to do chapters 15 through 19. And you know, this is a division of the land, and it's going to list off a lot of different cities, and hopefully we can get through these 4 chapters. If not, wherever we wind up at, we'll stop and we'll pick up there next Wednesday. But you know, they have last week Joshua shared with what God had told him in the division of the land, and Caleb came and reminded Joshua that God had promised him really his choice of land in the promised land, because him and Caleb and Joshua were the only 2 spies that came back and said, hey, we can take this land. And because they didn't listen to him, God still told him he was going to bless them. And he told Caleb at that time, when we do get to the promised land, you can just choose whatever area you want. And he told him what he wanted in last week's chapter 14. Now, in chapter 15 is pretty much just sharing the boundaries for Judah, where they're at. If you look on your map, Judah is right beside the Dead Sea. On the western side of the Dead Sea, goes all the way over to the Mediterranean Sea. And then in Scripture, they're going to call the Mediterranean the Great Sea. So, but we're going to begin here. This then was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of Edom. The wilderness of Zin southward was the uttermost part of the south coast. Now, you know, Judah to begin with is going to get a big portion of land. They're actually, if you look on your map, what Judah has and Simeon has on this map, that was all Judah to begin with. But Judah's going to have to give up part of that land because they were given too much. And then as we go through these chapters, we're going to see one group that is going to complain that they didn't have enough land. But Joshua tells them what to do also. But we'll get to that as we come to it. And their south border was from the shore of the Salt Sea, which is the Dead Sea, from the bay that looketh southward, and you know, that's all the way to the southern end of the Dead Sea. And really, if you turn your map upside down, the Dead Sea actually looks like somebody kneeled down praying. And that Dead Sea is called the Salt Sea because it's the saltiest water in the world. And you know, with the Jordan River flowing into the Dead Sea, the Jordan River and the Sea of Galilee and this other lake up by Naphtali, all that's fresh water. But then when you get down to where it dumps into the Dead Sea, that's the saltiest water in the world. And that's why they called it the Salt Sea. And it went out to the south side to Mela Akrabim and passed along to Zin, and descended up on the south side unto Kadesh Barnea, and passed along Hezron, and went up to Adar, and fetched a compass to Karka. And now, you know, we don't have all those cities listed on this map, but you can see where Judah was at, and it actually encompassed what is Simeon at the bottom of the map. From thence it passed toward Asmon, and went out into the river of Egypt, which it went all the way down. You know, the Gaza Strip is here, and Egypt has land now to the south of where Simeon is at, and it went all the way down to the river in Egypt. And the goings out of the coast were at the sea. This shall be your south coast. And the east border was the Salt Sea, even unto the end of Jordan. And their coast was the east side was all the way to the southern end of the Dead Sea and all the way to the northern end, where the Jordan River dumped into the Salt Sea or the Dead Sea. And their border in the north quarter was from the bay of that sea at the uttermost part of Jordan, and the border went up to Beth Hoglah, and passed along by the north of Beth Arabah, and the border went up to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben. So, and you can see Reuben is on the eastern side of the Dead Sea, and it came up to where the Jordan River met here, and then there was a stone there that was something to do with the son of Reuben. Verse 7, and the border went up toward Debir from the valley of Achor, and so northward, looking toward Gilgal, that is, before the going up to Adinamim, which is on the south side of the river, and the border passed toward the waters of En-shemesh, and the goings out thereof were in Enrogel. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom, unto the south side of the Jebusite, the same as Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lieth before the valley of Hinnom, westward, which is at the end of the valley of the giants, northward. And you see where Jerusalem's at, right kind of west of the northern end of the Dead Sea. Actually, you see it's petitioned off with boundaries here, and we'll get to who has that, and it's actually not marked on this map, and I don't know why, but we'll get to that in a minute. But it was talking about, you know, the land of Judah comes up close to the city of Jerusalem. And the border was drawn from the top of the hill unto the fountain of the water of Naphtali, and went out to the cities of Mount Ephron, and the border was drawn to Belalah, which is Kirjath Jearim, and the border can pass from Belalah westward unto Mount Seir, and passed along the side of Mount Jearim, which is Chesalon, on the north side, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and passed on to Timnah. And the border went out to the side of Ekron northward, and the border was drawn to Shikron, and passed along to Mount Belalah, and went out unto Jabneel, and the goings out of the border were at the sea. And I'm going to just read through all the borders and the cities, and then we'll talk about it. And the west border was to the great sea, and the coast thereof. This is the coast of the children of Judah round about according to their families. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a part among the children of Judah according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. And it's not actually marked on this map, but the one I have in my book, Hebron, is just about in the center of where Judah's marked off here. And that's what part that Caleb had asked for. He wanted the mount where God had met with Moses, and he wanted that area of land. So, and God had given him that. And Caleb drove out thence the three sons of Anak, Shishaiah, and Ahiman, and Talmaiah, and the children of Anak. And he went up thence to the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir before was Kirjath-sepher. And Caleb said, He that smiteth Kirjath-sepher, and taketh it, to him will I give Achsah, my daughter, to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Achsah, his daughter, to wife. And it came to pass, as she came unto him, that she moved him to ask of her father a field. And she lighted off her ass, and Caleb said unto her, what wouldest thou? Who answered, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south land. Give me also springs of water. He gave her the upper springs and the nether springs, which is the lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Judah according to their families. And now it's going to list off a pile of cities. And the uttermost cities of the tribe of the children of Judah toward the coast of Edom southward were Kabzeel, and Eder, and Jagur, and Kenah, and Damotna, and Adaida, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Ithnan, Ziph, and Talem, and Beloth, and Hazor, and Hadattah, and Kerioth, and Hezron, which is Hazor, Amam, and Shema, and Moladah, and Hazgerdah, and Heshmon, and Bethpelet, and Hasershoel, and Beersheba, and Bizjojah, and Bela, and Em, and Azim, and Eltolad, and Chesel, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Madmanah, and Sansana, and Laboth, and Shilhim, and Ain, and Ramon. All these cities are 29 with their villages. And in the valley, Eshtaol, and Zerah, and Ashna, and Zanoah, and Enganim, Tapua, and Enam, Jarmuth, and Adulam, Soka, and Azekah, and Sharim, and Adathim, and Gadara, and Gederathim, 14 cities with their villages. Zenon, and Hadassah, and Mildadad, and Delian, and Mespha, and Jothiel, Lachish, and Bozkath, and Eglon, and Kabon, and Laman, and Kithish, and Gedelroth, Beth Dagon, and Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 cities with their villages. Libnah, and Ether, and Ashan, and Jephthah, and Ashna, and Nazib, and Keilah, and Achzib, and Mareshah, 9 cities were their villages. Ekron with her towns and her villages. From Ekron even unto the sea, all that lay near Ashdod with their villages. Ashdod with her towns and her villages. Gaza and her towns and her villages. Unto the river of Egypt and the great sea and the border thereof. And in the mountain Shamir and Jatir and Soka and Danah and Kirjathsanah, which is Debir, and Anab, and Eshtamal, and Anim, and Goshen, and Olon, and Gilod, 11 cities with their villages. Arab, Duma, and Eshan, and Janam, and Beth Tapah, and Aphekah, and Humtah, and Kirjath Arba, which is Hebron, and Zor, 9 cities with their villages. Maon, Carmel, and Ziph, and Judah, and Jezreel, and Jekodam, and Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Halha, Bethzur, and Gedor, and Marath, and Bethanoth, and El-Tikon, 6 cities with their villages. Kirjathbaal, which is Kirjath-Jearim, and Reba, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arba, Medinan, and Sekaka, and Nibshan, and the city of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Judah could not drive them out, but the Jebusites dwell with the children of Judah at Jerusalem unto this day. So, you know, I don't know if I pronounced all those cities correctly, but
I wonder where they come up with all those names.
I tell you what, they've got some names with these cities. But,
He thought of all this.
you know, it encompassed really everything you see here in Judah and in Simeon at this point. That's what was given to Judah. But then when they realized, and we're going to see when we get another chapter or two of it, that that was too much land for Judah, so they're going to take the southern end of it and give to Simeon, or the tribe of Simeon. But you know, right now, Judah has all that land, all the way down to Egypt. Okay, chapter 16. The boundaries of Joseph. And now, actually, Joseph is not one of the tribes that's going to receive land, but his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And the lot of the children of Joseph fell from Jordan by Jericho unto the water of Jericho on the east, to the wilderness that goeth up from Jericho throughout Mount Bethel, and goeth out from Bethel to Luz, and passeth along unto the borders of Archi to Adaroth, and goeth down westward to the coast of Japhleti, unto the coast of Bethhoron, the nether, and to Gezer, and the goings out thereof are at the sea. So the children of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, took their inheritance. So we see on the map where Manasseh and Ephraim are at, and they take in a good portion of land, and they go all the way out to the coast. They go, both tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, go all the way from the Jordan out to the Mediterranean Sea, with Manasseh having the biggest portion of land. And then, you know, that's only a half tribe of Manasseh, because half of the tribe of Manasseh stayed on the east side of Jordan, up in the upper right-hand corner. They were right by in that big body of water there, up closer to the top of the map. The bigger body, that's the Sea of Galilee. And then the other one is Lake Hula. You know, they got a big portion of land for those two tribes for Joseph's two sons. And now, Joseph was not getting any land, but you had the Levites who were not getting land, so that's where these two come in at. And it's still only 12 tribes that they're going to divide land amongst. Now, the boundaries for Ephraim. And the border of the children of Ephraim according to their families was thus. Even the border of their inheritance on the east side was Adarothadar unto Bethhoron the upper. And the border went out toward the sea to Michmathah on the north side, and the border went about eastward unto Shiloh, and passed by it on the east to Janohah. And it came down from Janohah to Adaroth and to Narath, and came to Jericho, and went out at Jordan. So, you know, they've got a pretty good span of land here, and that it encompassed the city of where Jericho had been, and where they entered into the promised land. So that's a portion of the land that Ephraim got. Let's see. The border went out from Tapua westward unto the river Cana, and the goings out thereof were at the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim by their families. And the separate cities for the children of Ephraim were among the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages, and they drave not out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwelt among the Ephraimites unto this day, and serve under tribute. So some of the Canaanites were left here in their inheritance of land, and they're under tribute. In other words, they were working for the tribe of Ephraim. They were more or less had become like slaves. And they were using those people for different projects, different reasons. And now, you know, with the division of the land, even though some tribes look like they have a whole lot more land than others, some of the tribes were a lot bigger. But we're still going to get to one tribe that's going to complain that they didn't get enough land. But Joshua's going to tell them what to do and where they can obtain land from. So, and how to do it. Okay, chapter number 17. The boundaries of the half-tribe of Manasseh that's on the western side of the Jordan River. They go all the way out to the Mediterranean Sea. There was also a lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph, to wit, for Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war. Therefore he had Gilead and Bashan. There was also a lot for the rest of the children of Manasseh by their families, for the children of Abiezer, and for the children of Helek, and for the children of Asriel, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Hepher, and for the children of Shemida. Those were the male children of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, by their families. But Zophalihad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, but daughters. And these are the names of his daughters, Mela and Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. That's some names for girls. And now, you know, most of the time, when you read scripture about any type of inheritance, it's only going to the male side. The women didn't really get anything. But these girls, because they were the only children, it says, they came near before Eleazar the priest and before Joshua the son of Nun. For the princes saying, the Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brethren. Because their father didn't have any sons, they're like, and you know, if you remember back when we were studying through Leviticus and Numbers and all that, and Deuteronomy, you know, they shared, hey, our father doesn't have any sons. Are we still supposed to be left out? So God told Moses, these girls are going to get an inheritance of land. And that's what they've come to ask. The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brethren. Therefore, according to the commandment of the Lord, he gave them an inheritance among the brethren of their father. That's one of the very few times that you hear of women getting an inheritance in Scripture. Because most of the time an inheritance went to the male, and if, just like with Israel, as they get their land and as they begin to live in this land, when the father dies, the biggest part of the inheritance would go to the oldest son. And the younger sons, they got kind of shortchanged. But the older one got the biggest inheritance. Now that was just one of their ways of doing things. Why they did it that way, I have no idea. And he goes on, and he's in verse 5, and there fell 10 portions to Manasseh, beside the land of Gilead and Bashan, which were on the other side Jordan, the tribe that's on the other side. And when we hear the other side, more times than not, it's talking about the ones that stayed on the east side of Jordan. You know, if you remember when they got here, they told Moses, this is a good-looking place. This is good for our flocks and herds, and we want to stay over here. And now some of the folks got upset with them because they wanted to stay on this side of Jordan. But God agreed, let them stay there. But Moses told them, when we go over Jordan, the men of valor, the men of war, got to go with us to help your brothers fight for their land. So they did that. Because the daughters of Manasseh had an inheritance among his sons, and the rest of Manasseh's sons had the land of Gilead. And the coast of Manasseh was from Asher to Michmethah, that lieth before Shechem, and the border went along on the right hand into the inhabitants of Tappuah. Now Manasseh had the land of Tappuah, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. So right on the border of Manasseh and Ephraim, it's kind of like, when I was studying this, I thought about the city of Pavo. When you go to Pavo, half of that, part of that, I don't know if it's half, but part of that town's in Brooks County and part of it's in Thomas County. And that's kind of what I get from this. That city was right on the border, and the border ran through it. So whatever was on Ephraim's side, they got that much of Tappuah, and Manasseh got the rest of it. So, and the coast descended unto the river Cana, southward of the river. These cities of Ephraim are among the cities of Manasseh. The coast of Manasseh also was on the north side of the river, and the outgoings of it were at the sea. So they started at the Jordan River, and they went all the way across to the Great Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. Southward it was Ephraim's, and northward it was Manasseh's. And the sea is his border, and they met together in Asher on the north, and in Ishkar on the east. And Manasseh had in Ishkar and in Asher Bethshean and her towns, and Ableam and her towns, and the inhabitants of Dor, and her towns, and the inhabitants of Endor, and her towns, and the inhabitants of Tanakh, and her towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo, and her towns, even 3 countries. Yet the children of Manasseh could not drive out the inhabitants of those cities, but the Canaanites would dwell in that land. So part of the Canaanites lived with Manasseh's family, the half-tribe that went across Jordan. Now, in verse 13 it says, Yet it came to pass when the children of Israel were waxing strong, that they put the Canaanites to tribute, but did not utterly drive them out. Again, now Manasseh's using those Canaanites as slaves. They made them labor for them, but for living in the land. And the children of Joseph spake unto Joshua, saying, Why hast thou given me but one lot and one portion to inherit, seeing I am a great people, forasmuch as the Lord hath blessed me hitherto? And Joshua answered them, If thou be a great people, then get thee up to the wood country, and cut down for thyself there in the land of the Pezerites and of the giants, if Mount Ephraim be too narrow for thee. So Joseph told him, hey, don't come complaining you don't have enough land. In your portion of land, there's high mountains, and it is covered with woods. Go cut those woods, build you some houses, you got more land. Part of theirs rose up, and hey, we need more land. And Joshua said, hey, cut them trees off of them mountains out there, and you got more land. And now in that area, even today, there are not many trees in that area of Israel. Israel has, in the past probably 5 to 10 years, started trying to do more conservation with woodlands, and they've started planting some trees back. So, but most of that area is barren, no trees whatsoever. And the children of Joseph said, The hill is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites that dwell in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both they who are of Bethshean and her towns, and they who are of the valley of Jezreel. And Joshua spake unto the house of Joseph, even to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, Thou art a great people, and hast great power. Thou shalt not have one lot only, but the mountain shall be thine, for it is a wood. And thou shalt cut it down, and the outgoings of it shall be thine. For thou shalt drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots, and though they be strong. So, Joshua's telling them, you're going to have the mountains, cut the wood off in it, you got more land. And really, he's telling Manasseh, that half tribe of Manasseh and Ephraim, y'all fight those people and take that land. Even though they're strong, he was trying to share with them too that really that God would be with them. God's given them this land, and God told them, I'll drive these folks out for you. So they needed to trust God. They needed to hold on to Him. So Ephraim's complaining, hey, we don't have any land. We ain't got enough. So Joshua tells them how to get a little more. Anybody with any questions on these chapters? Okay, chapter 18. We have a few more tribes to go. Chapter 18, verse 1. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh, and set up the tabernacle of the congregation there, and the land was subdued before them. So now the remaining tribes, they all gather at the place of Shiloh. They put up the tabernacle, and now they're waiting for their land to be divided. But Joshua is going to tell them to do something a little different to divide their land amongst them. And there remained among the children of Israel 7 tribes which had not yet received their inheritance. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, How long are you slack to go to possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers hath given you? Give out from among you 3 men from each tribe, for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall rise and go through the land and describe it according to the inheritance of them, and they shall come again to me. So Joshua tells them, you choose out 3 good men out of each of your tribes. I'm going to send them to just really to go around and map the land. They're going to go around, they're going to describe this land, and that's pretty much what he was wanting. Just kind of a map of the land divided 7 ways. And he says in verse 5, And they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall abide in their coast on the south, and the house of Joseph shall abide in their coast on the north. You shall therefore describe the land into 7 parts, and bring the description hither to me, that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. So he says, you're going to have to give us kind of a map of the land that's left, describe it in 7 different parts. And then pretty much Joshua was going to take each description, maybe number it or whatever, put it in a basket. Here, you get number 1, you get number 2, he was going to cast it out by lots. So he says, You shall describe the land into 7 parts, and bring the description hither to me, that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. But the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance, and Gad and Reuben, the half tribe of Manasseh, have received their inheritance beyond Jordan on the east, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them. And that's the 2.5 tribes on the eastern side, or the other side of Jordan. And the men arose and went away, and Joshua charged them that went to describe the land, saying, Go and walk through the land, and describe it, and come again to me, that I may here cast lots for you before the Lord in Shiloh. So, I'm going to we're going to draw straws, literally. This is the lot you're getting. If you got the long straw, you got this lot. If you get the short straw, you got this one. So, but he was going to do it by lots. And the men went and passed through the land and described it by cities into 7 parts in a book or a scroll, and came again to Joshua to the host at Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua divided the land unto the children of Israel according to their divisions. And now he's going to get into the divisions of that land. And now the map that you have, if you'll look, there's not, you don't see a tribe listing for Benjamin. The one that's not marked, where Jerusalem is at, that's where Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, got land there. The lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up according to their families, and the coast of their lot came forth between the children of Judah and the children of Joseph. And their border on the north side was from Jordan, and their border went up to the side of Jericho on the north side, and went up through the mountains westward, and the goings out thereof were at the wilderness of Bethaven. So, in the area of Jerusalem, here where Benjamin got land, they also got mountains in their land. And the border went over from thence toward Luz to the side of Luz, which is Bethel, southward, and the border descended to Adarothadar, near the hill that lieth on the side of the nether Bethhoron. And the border was drawn thence, and compassed the corner of the sea southward, from the hill that lieth before Bethhoron, southward, and the goings out thereof were Kirjathbaal, which is Kirjath-jearim, a city of the children of Judah. This was the west quarter, or the west section. The south quarter was from the end of Kirjath-jearim, and the border went out on the west and went into the well of the waters of Nephtoah. And the border came down to the end of the mountain that lieth before the valley of the son of Hinnom, and which is in the valley of the giants on the north, and descended to the valley of Hinnom to the side of Jebusi on the south, and descended to Enrogel, and was drawn from the north, and went from forth to Enshemesh, and went forth toward Gilead, which is over against the going up to Adullamim, and descended to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben, right where it talked about the border of Ephraim coming to the same point of where Reuben's border was at on the other side of Jordan. The tribe of Benjamin had that same border. And passed along toward the side over against Arabah, northward, and went downward unto Arabah. And the border passed along to the side of Beth-hoglah, northward, and the outgoings of the border were at the north bay of the Salt Sea, at the south end of Jordan. This was the south coast, right at the end of the Dead Sea. And Jordan was the border of it on the east side. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin, by the coast thereof round about, according to their families. Now the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin, according to their families, were Jericho, and Beth-hoglah, and the valley of Keziz, and Beth Arba, and Zemaram, and Bethel, and Avim, and Para, and Ophrah, and Chephraim, Moni, and Ophani, and Gaba, 12 cities with their villages. Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mespah, and Chephirah, and Moza, and Rechem, and Arpeel, and Tarla, and Zula, Eleph, and Jebusi, which is Jerusalem, Gibeath, and Kirjath, 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Benjamin according to their families. So, looks like with them, looks like they had really the smallest portion of land was the tribe of Benjamin. Now, chapter 19, the boundaries of Simeon. Now, Judah had already been given this land, but we're going to see here what it says about that. And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families and their inheritance, was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. So they were going to get the southern end of what Judah had already gotten. Judah didn't need all that land. So Joshua was going to take that from them to give to the tribe of Simeon. And they had an inheritance, Beersheba, or Sheba, and Moladah, and Hazarashual, and Bala, and Azim, and El-Tolad, and Bethel, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Beth-Markabah, and Hazepharsusa, and Beth-Arath, and Sheruhin, 13 cities and their villages. Ain, Ramon, and Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages. And all the villages that were round about the cities of Bel-Abir, Ramoth of the south, this is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. Out of the portion of the children of Judah was the inheritance of the children of Simeon, for the part of the children of Judah was too much for them. Therefore the children of Simeon had their inheritance within the inheritance of Judah, or them. And that was too much land for the tribe of Judah. And when Joshua realized that, he took that portion back and gave it to the tribe of Simeon. So, to make it fair. Now, the boundaries of Zebulun. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun, and according to their families, and the border of their inheritance was unto Sarid. And their border went up toward the sea, and Marlah, and reached to Dabasheth, and reached to the river that is before Jokneam, and turned from Sarid eastward toward the sun rising unto the border of Chisloth-Tabor, and then goeth out to Dabarath, and goeth to Japhia. And from thence passeth on along on the east to Gittah-Hefer, to Iddathkanim, and goeth out to Ramonmeth, or to Neah. And the border compassed it on the north side to Hanathon, and the outgoings thereof are in the valley of Jiphthiel, and Cadathoth, and Nahalil, and Shimron, and Idalah, and Bethlehem, 12 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Zebulun according to their families, these cities with their villages. And Zebulun is kind of up to the north west, kind of west of the Sea of Galilee. The boundaries of Asher. Let's see, the boundaries of Ishkar, verse 17. And the fourth lot came out to Ishkar, for the children of Ishkar according to their families, and their border went toward Jezreel, and Chesulah, and Shunem, and Hapharim, and Sihon, and Anaharath, and Rabith, and Kishion, and Abez, and Ramoth, and Enganim, and Enhadadah, and Beth Pazaziz, and the coast reaches to Tabor, and Shahazimah, and Beth Shemesh, and the outgoings of the border were at the Jordan, 16 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ishkar according to their families, the cities and their villages. So Ishkar is right on the Jordan, right south of the Sea of Galilee. Now, the boundaries of Asher. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher according to their families. And their border was Helkath, and Halai, and Batan, and Akshaph, and Elamelech, and Amad, and Meshiel, and reacheth to Carmel westward to the and to Shahor-Lebenath, and turneth toward the sun rising to Beth Dagon, and reacheth to Zebulun, and to the valley of Ziph-Leal, toward the north side of Beth-Emek and Nael, and goeth out to Kabul on the left hand, and Hebron, and Rehob, and Hammon, and Cana, even unto great Zidon. And then the coast turneth to Ramah, and to the strong city Tyre, and the coast turneth to Hosa, and the outgoings thereof are at the sea from the coast to Akazib. Umah also, and Aphek, and Rehob, 22 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribes of the children of Asher according to their families, these cities with their villages. Naphtali. The sixth lot came out to the children of Naphtali according to their families, and their coast was from Hileph, from Elon, and Zananim, and Adamai, Nakib, and Jimneel, unto Lakum, and the outgoings thereof were at Jordan. And then the coast turneth westward to Ajnor Tabor, and goeth out from thence to Hakuk, and reacheth to Zebulun on the south side, and reacheth to Asher on the west side, and to Judah upon Jordan toward the sun rising. And the fenced cities are Zidim, Zur, and Hamath, Rekath, and Shinnereth, and Adamah, and Ramah, and Hazor, and Kadesh, and Ederi, and Enhazer, and Iran, and Megadel, and Horam, and Bethanath, and Bethshemesh, 19 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali according to their families, the cities and their villages. And you can see Naphtali all the way up at the northern end of the promised land. Takes in all of the Sea of Galilee along the Jordan, all the way up to where the Jordan cuts back up into the mountains. Now, we have the boundaries of Dan. And the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan according to their families. And the coast of their inheritance was Zorah, and Eshtal, and Arshemesh, and Shalabain, and Ajalon, and Jethla, and Elon, and Thimnathah, and Ekron, and El-Tiki, and Gibbethon, and Balath, and Jehud, and Ben-Barak, and Gath-Rimmon, and Majarkon, and Raycon, with the border before Japho. The coast of the children went out too little for them. Therefore the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshem, and took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt therein, and called Leshem Dan, after the name of Dan their father. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan according to their families, these cities with their villages. So now we have all the 12 tribes that have a portion of land. And now, just like with Caleb, Joshua was going to get a portion of land that God had promised, because he was one of the two that came back and said, hey, we can take this land. You know, God was going to take care of them. When they had made an end of dividing the land for an inheritance of their cities, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Joshua the son of Nun among them. According to the word of the Lord, they gave him the city which he asked, even Timnath-Serah in Mount Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt therein. These are the inheritance which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel divided for an inheritance by lot in Shiloh, before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So they made an end of dividing the country. So now we've conquered it, we've taken it, we've divided it, and there's still some there that they're going to have to battle, and then some that they're going to make slaves. So, but they all have a portion of land in the promised land that God had given to them. You know, all of these scriptures here just proves out that what God says, that's exactly what He's going to do. He had promised this hundreds of years before to Abraham. I'm going to give this land to your seed. And He told Abraham, you're not going to see it. You won't see any of your seed inhabit this land. You'll be dead and buried. And He told Isaac and Jacob the same thing. You're not going to see this land. You'll be dead and buried. But your seed, because I promised Abraham, they will inherit this land. So now God has stood true to His promise. And He still does. Whatever He promises, He still stands true to His promises. Anybody have anything on any of these scriptures from these chapters on the division of the land?